is very, very fundamental to us. It's a non-negotiable item on our agenda. We start from certain positions of principle. One, Cuba is our nearest neighbor. Two, Cuba is a member of the third world like us. Three, Cuba fights at our side for changes in the world economic system. Four, we find Cuba the most principled country to deal with. They operate on a basis of respect for sovereignty and non-interference in other people's internal affairs. They have an internationalist policy that if you say to them, come and be my friend, we think you have certain skills that are interesting. We think you've done certain things that are interesting. We would like to have a look at what you've done. Would you like to cooperate with us in a field? They say, fine. If you don't want to cooperate, they say, fine. We have long since understood that they are on a particular path of development that is obviously massively supported by their people and which is a product of their objective circumstances. Their revolution arose out of the horrors of one of the worst tyrannies the world had ever known. And a lot of their experience is conditioned by that fact. We are a totally different thing. We had a different kind of society, different traditions. We had a functioning plural democracy. And we're on what we call our democratic socialist path of development, which has certain points of similarity with theirs, but very substantial points of difference with theirs, and we respect each other. But even more important than all of that, and this is what is non-negotiable to us, Cuba is a legitimate part of the world and this hemisphere. And it has one of the most legitimate governments in the world, because legitimacy is a function of popular support and nothing else. Nothing else legitimizes except people. And no country, in our view, no country has the right to impose sanctions upon Cuba or any other country that has legitimacy. To us, therefore, it is non-negotiable that Cuba must be accepted as a full, free, and untrammeled member of the world community and the hemispheric community. And if that is not so, we can't make it so. I don't say this in arrogance. I'm talking about what we stand for, not what we can make happen. But what we stand for, we will not move over and will pay any price for. And, you know, looking at it from a practical point of view, you could say this. If you can do that to Cuba because somebody doesn't like the Cuban Revolution, then how do I know that you don't do that to me tomorrow? Because you don't like something that I do.
Would you say then that this is a reason why you are dissatisfied with the absence of sanctions against South Africa while there are sanctions against Cuba?
It does not. Well, I'm not an easy person to embitter, but that makes me as near to bitter as anything in the contemporary world. It's something that I said in Maputo, actually, at a conference to which I was invited this year, that it really is a tragic commentary on human values in the world, that there are still sanctions against this really very brave and brilliant social and human experiment which is taking place in Cuba. Even if you don't agree with the methodology, it's a remarkable experiment. And you can leave sanctions against that country and apply not one sanction. Well, they're now talking about an arms embargo, but not one economic sanction against the ultimate leper of the international community, South Africa.